Welcome to Like a Champion. I'm your host, Jaden Johnson, and I'm grateful you're joining me as we explore what it means to live like a champion. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Jaden. I'm thankful that you're here today. I'm especially thankful because your most valuable asset is your time. So I'm very appreciative that you would take the time to spend here with me on this podcast. I hope this is a high value podcast for you. And if it is, please like and subscribe to the podcast. And I'd love to connect with you on Facebook or Instagram or my website. You can go to jadenjohnson.com and hit contact. I would love to connect with you there. And I hope you'll enjoy today's episode. And last week, we discussed how this is going to be a space for mindfulness. This is going to be a spot where you can digest all of the things that you consume. Because we consume so many different pieces of content. We have so many conversations. It's just wild how we can have a conversation with someone all day long on our cell phone that we don't ever see. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not bashing any of that, but it's important that we take time to reflect on these things and to digest all of the things that we're saying, hearing, listening to, and the list can go on and on. And today we're going to talk about something that I'd call a lost virtue. And I know that it's a lost virtue in America, and that's where I live, so I'm not sure about other places, but I know in America it is definitely a lost virtue. And we might end up doing some sort of series on lost virtues within this podcast. But this lost virtue in particular is honor. Honor. Honor is simply recognizing the value in something or someone. It is just recognizing a thing or a person's value. And a speaker that I heard one time, he described honor as three things. Honor is the way that you prefer someone, it's the way that you refer to someone, or the way that you defer to someone. And so I'm going to give examples of that. So the way that you would honor someone by preferring them is, for instance, you have a mentor. Let's say your mentor comes to dinner with you and your family, and you let your mentor sit at the head of the table to honor them. That is honor, to prefer someone. Referring to someone in the sense of honor is recognizing their value by how you refer to them. So, for instance, if I go into a doctor's office, let's say my doctor's name is John Smith. Okay, when my doctor walks in, I'm not going to call him John, and I'm not going to call him Smith. I'm going to call him Dr. Smith. Why? Because I'm referring to him with honor. He has worked hard, and I see the value in, one, his hard work, but I also see the value in his title and position as my doctor. And then the third way that we can honor someone is by how we defer to them. For instance, my wife. If my wife is craving barbecue, but I want Chinese food, and we're going out to dinner, because I want to honor my wife, I'm going to defer my option. And now that's a simple example, maybe overused. But if you're going to lunch with your boss, and your boss says, I want to go on this side of town because I live over on this side of town, but you live on the other side of town. And he says, I want to go to this restaurant that's by my house on this side of town. You are going to say, yes, I will go with you, because you are deferring your option and being honorable, honoring your boss. And these are the ways that we honor people, but this concept of honor can be used for the content and the things that we consume every day. We have to learn to honor all of the different podcasts, books, teachings, talks, conversations, meetings. We have to be able to honor these things. And so I want to practice this with you. I want to show you a way that you can practice this, because reflecting on things is a way that we can honor them, and taking the time to be mindful of what we're hearing can also be a way to honor them. So wherever you're at right now, I just want you to slow down for a moment. If you're at the gym, just start to think about your breathing. Okay? If you're working up a sweat, just begin to recognize how fast is your heart rate. Maybe it's time to just take a couple of minutes to rest. And by a couple of minutes, I mean literally 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes to rest. If you're driving, I want you to just relax your shoulders for a minute. And if you're sitting at home, don't scroll through anything right now. Just turn your phone off for just a moment and take a deep breath in and let it out. One more time. Take a deep breath in and let the breath out. Our culture is built around momentum. Go, 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 consume, do, move, all of these words. Go, and our culture has this ambition, and that's okay. Ambition is a great thing. Don't think that I'm bashing that. But we have to learn to pause so that we can honor all of the things that we consume. And I want you to think about your last 7 days, okay? I want you to think about the last 7 days. What is something that you have learned over the last 7 days? Okay, this could be from a conversation, a meeting, a book, a YouTube video, a podcast, a song, any number of things. It could be a mistake that you made. It could be something that you learned. But this is how we honor all of the things that happen in our lives. So think of one thing that you learned. If you're having trouble thinking of it quickly, which I did when I wrote this, if you're having trouble thinking of it quickly, just hit pause on the podcast and think of something. For me personally, something that I heard this past week that really impacted my life, that helped me was I heard the song Jesus Saves by Riley Green. And that song is a very powerful, moving piece of work that is written about a homeless veteran, okay? And it is a story of how he got to where he is, which is holding a sign on a street corner made out of cardboard. And that was just a very moving song for me. It was very emotional. And the way that I honored that was I had about, 15 minutes left in my drive home. And I just turned off any music after I heard this song to just think about, okay, I just heard a story that is so real and so prevalent in our society. And it's so easy. I could have just moved on to the next song. I could have just moved on to the next piece of work that somebody spent their hard time on. But I took the time to honor that. And it really helped me. I got to really experience that song and experience that moment as I was driving home, and I'm listening to this song and seeing people who are struggling on the side of the street on my way home. Another thing, and these are my two examples, and you'll have yours, but another way I honored what happened this week was my boss came to me and he said, I like that you're doing this in your work. And it was just a situation where I was coaching someone that was under me. And he said, I want you to keep doing that. I want you to keep doing that. And so instead of just saying, okay, thanks so much, and then moving on to the next thing, on my way home from work, which is about 10 to 12 minutes, give or take, on a good day, on my way home from work, I didn't turn on any podcasts. I didn't call anyone on the phone. I didn't listen to any content. I just thought about and celebrated the fact that my boss was thankful and actually made it a point to say something to me and encourage me. And so I let that moment of encouragement fuel me for about 10 to 12 minutes as I was on my drive home. And you know what that did for me? Instead of me coming out of a long work meeting, which is what that was, instead of coming out of a long work meeting and then loading my ears with content on my way home and then walking in the door to see my wife and telling her about all of what happened during my day, I was able to process that long meeting, let myself be encouraged by what my boss had said. And then when I walked in the door, it turns out my wife had a hard day at work. And instead of me being down, I was able to lift her up because I reflected long enough and honored that conversation long enough to let it encourage me and build me up. And so I want you to think about this one thing. What is one thing from a podcast that you listened to this week? And I want you to honor this lesson. And so what does this look like? Out of this one thing, what is a step that you can take? What is one step that you can take to either implement that into your life, to allow that to better your life? What's one thing? And maybe that one thing is just taking 3 minutes to really process it. Maybe that one thing is calling somebody that really made an impact on your life this week and saying, hey, I just want to thank you. Maybe it looks like just listening to one episode of that same podcast this week. Instead of listening to this podcast and that podcast and that podcast. See, for example, my wife likes Andrew Huberman's podcast. Okay. She likes Andrew Huberman, and, that's awesome. I listen to it here and then. But if my wife listens to Andrew Huberman and then Joe Rogan and then Robert Madu and then she listens to Dr. Amen. If she listens to these 4 podcasts, there's no honor in that. Why? And this is probably doesn't make sense what I just said. But people work very hard to develop content. Okay, they work, and not only do they work hard, but a lot of times it's very dense and very helpful. And if we're not taking the time to really let those things digest within us, then we're not honoring the content that we're hearing every single day. So, like I said earlier, honor is simply recognizing value. And if something is valuable to you, you treat it differently. And so think about how you treat things that matter to you. These podcasts are helpful. They matter. Okay? These pieces of content are helpful and they matter. Your time it matters. Your relationships with people matters. Your work matters. How are you honoring that? And so I hope that you'll take one thing that you learned from this week and apply it to your life in one small step. Because I'll tell you this, one small step that's actually taken is better than 10 or 15 ideas that you might have. One small step that's actually taken is better than 5 conceptual ideas that you have heard this week, or 17 different ways to improve your life. Take one small step this week. Practice mindfulness. Next time you listen to a podcast, instead of starting another one, or instead of just immediately turning on music, take 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And just think about it. Think about what's one thing I can draw from this. If you begin to do these things, then your ability to consume information and let that information impact you will grow. Because the goal is not to just hear more talk about how people do things. The goal is to hear these things that are valuable and that add value to your life and apply them to your own life. And that's why Like a Champion exists, to help you to practice mindfulness so that you can add value to your life. I hope to see you soon. I'm thankful that you joined today. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I would love to connect with you, and we'll see you next time.